Today we're removing an aftermarket car stereo and installing the factory unit back into the Chevy S10 2002. We're going to show the removal process for this stereo, and the installation will be pretty much the same as the removal because we have to get to the same spots. This stereo is commonly seen in the shop for CD problems. We're working with one difficulty here today because we have a little crack up here in the dash that may become worse or remain the same. We're going to start over here underneath the dash and remove a 7mm bolt here underneath the dash. One bolt removed. Over on the left side of the dash, there is a second 7mm bolt. Now we can grasp the front edge of the panel and pull that down a little bit. Up underneath the dash, there will be a third 7mm bolt. Move over here to the right. There will be there should have been a fourth bolt there, but that's missing. That'll allow us to bring this panel down. We're going to remove this accesses a dash screw here, so we're going to remove this screw. We're going to move over to the right side and remove a second screw that holds the dash on. I'm going to get our 90-degree screwdriver here and remove one screw that's up at the top of the gauges here. Next we're going to lower the steering wheel to its lowest position, set the parking brake, and shift to the lowest gear here. Now this is going to allow us to start at the top corner here and gently pull the panel from the dash, work our way along the bottom here, up along the top, and work away from that crack there, and this should hopefully help us to remove this panel from the dash. Now we have some connectors over here on the left side. The first one has a trigger that you squeeze in. There's a second lower connector, and you squeeze the trigger down on that one and it releases. The way these connectors work is when you push down on the trigger, it releases the little latch on it, and pushing it down releases it. For the other connector here, it works the same way. You push the trigger down on it and it releases from the connector. We're going to move back over to the other side of the car and move up to the gauges here. We can pop this panel right out of the dash. This gives better access to the connectors. Again, we're going to push the in this specific connector, you lift the trigger on it and releases. The second connector, the blue one here, we're going to push the trigger down. And that releases the connector. I'm going to pull the pan a little bit further forward and remove the connector at the airbag, and gently lift the panel up over the dash and get access to the other connector here. These can be some tough triggers on these connectors, and we're going to use a little push bar on them to help release or push the trigger down. And now we're going to remove this panel and put it to the side. Next, the stereo is held in with usually 3 7mm bolts, but we're removing the aftermarket kit here in this instance. Removing the 2 screws on each side. And then this brings us back to the same type of connectors you've seen in the rest of the vehicle here so far to remove the antenna on the back of the car. The antenna will just pull loose, and then the main connector will have a trigger on that as well. But we are reinstalling this one. I'm going to push the antenna in, and these connectors in the vehicle are all keyed, so they only fit specific spots. And we're going to put this back in the dash and line up the little latches on each side. There is a pin in the back of the stereo that fits a slot, so when it finally mounts up and becomes flush with the front, that means you've got it right back in the same spot. This is how you remove and reinstall a stereo in a Chevy S10. One point we missed when removing this stereo. It's very important that when you are lifting the center console up over the dash that you watch out for the emergency flasher switch here. You don't want to apply too much pressure to that and break the switch off. Hope this video has been helpful. Thank you for watching.